Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Knits Stuff here on YouTube. This is episode 3, title something to the effect of shortest update ever, because I really don't have a whole lot to show you. Being monogamous and focused on Camp Loopy will do that to somebody, so that's what you get there. What do I need to say here? Today is Thursday, June the 30th, 2016. And I just want to thank new and returning viewers taking your time to watch me talk about knitting. That's phenomenal, and I appreciate it. I know that my channel is largely cross-stitch focused, so anybody who's willing to watch the knitting stuff, thank you. You are wonderful. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot to talk about today. I have some questions that I'm going to answer from last week's episode. I have a finish, works in progress, and some haul. I'm not wearing anything today because it's too warm, and I'm already wearing long sleeves, so yeah, I'm not wearing any knitwear today. And I'm going to save goals talk for next week because I didn't prepare anything, and this is kind of on the fly. To be honest, with the way that the weather is today, I wasn't certain if I was going to record, just because I'm not entirely sure what kind of lighting I'm going to have today. It's probably going to be fading in and out. So I'm here recording today because I won't tomorrow, and then it'll just be next week, and I wasn't trying to do that. So anyway, short episode. So first things first, let's start with questions. I have quite a few really good questions. The first is she asked a couple from Carolina, and she wants to know how I block my things. And with regards to blocking, I have a couple of methods. So I will, more often than not, wash, soak, towel dry, and then stretch it and lay it out across my mats. Now, my mats aren't specifically designed for knitting. I got them out of the home gym equipment section at Walmart because they will snap together and create different sizes. So if I'm blocking I don't know, a hat, for whatever reason, if a hat needs blocking, I don't need the whole room, the whole floor. But if I'm blocking a big shawl, then I can snap a few of those together and stretch it out across them. So I typically use those. I know some people will use children's mats, the building block letters that will snap together. So that's an option. Let's see. And then I also use T-pins if something needs to be pulled and stretched. So my cowl that I was wearing last week, I used T-pins to just very lightly smoosh it out and pull it into the shape that I wanted it. And then if it's something more complicated than that, I have blocking wires. Blocking wires are typically used for lace. So if you have lace that you want to open up, and that doesn't mean lace weight yarn, it just means lace. And I got my blocking wires from Inspinity, which I'll be sure to link in the down bar. And it is an Etsy shop, and they sell crafted blocking wires. The set that I got, they have a lot of different sets, and so it just kind of depends on how much you want to spend and what your needs are. The set that I got are, it's 6 12-inch wires, 6 24-inch wires, and 6 36-inch wires. So I can block pretty much anything with that set. It also comes with a bunch of T-pins, and so I will use that. I will be able to show you here in a little bit what that looks like, the blocking wires in use, because I've got something blocking on blocking wires right now. So there's that. She also asked, how did you learn so much about yarn? She said that she's kind of overwhelmed. She feels like the stuff from craft stores isn't necessarily worth it, but other yarns seem very pricey, and they can be pricey. Somebody said that knitting or crafting is cheaper than therapy. they're delusional. I'm sure that therapy is probably much more expensive. Anyway, yarns can be very pricey, and it's kind of one of those you get what you pay for kind of things. My knowledge about yarn is really just experience with it, and also by watching podcasts. There is a wealth of knowledge out there in the knitting podcast world, just as there is in the cross-stitch world on FlossTube. There's always somebody that's going to know more than I do, and a lot of times they're willing to impart that knowledge on their viewing audience. So that's really where I get my knowledge about yarn. One of the podcasts in particular, two of which that I can think of where I get the most like information, the Knit Girls and the Knitting Expat. They are very knowledgeable, yarny people. And they just share a lot of information about yarn, about twist, about drape, about halos. There's a lot of terminology with regards to yarn that I mean, right over my head if I didn't watch those podcasts. So that's typically speaking where I get my knowledge. It's just from watching podcasts. So yeah. Thank you, Carolina, for your questions. Blue and orange is a complicated conversation in my household. What did I do? Okay. Next, May Stewart Olson asks if I have ever watched Bjorn, who does the Skano podcast. And I have not. I didn't even know that there was a Skano podcast. I know that Very Pink Knits very often she has Skano kits up as giveaways and tutorials. And they're beautiful kits. They do some really gorgeous shawls. So I'm going to check out that podcast because I like Skano. I love their yarns. They're beautiful. They do some really beautiful colorways. So I will definitely check that out. Elizabeth from Running Stitch says that I must check out Hazel Knits, and I have. Fiberspace is a store in Alexandria, Virginia that is a retailer for Hazel Knits, and I have been wanting to get up there. The trouble is that I know that the second that I lay my hands on some Hazel Knits, I'm going to spend a fortune on it. Hazel Knits is along the same lines of like the Plucky Knitter to me, in that they use mostly solid tonal colors, but their color depth is like vibrant. Like their purples are purple, and they cover like the entire spectrum. So from very pale lavender all the way up to the deepest royal purple you've ever seen. Plucky Knitter is kind of the same way. They do semi-solid tonals, which I love. I love colorways like that. Obviously, I like my variegates because I have quite a few of them, but those semi-solid tonals, gorgeous. And Hazel Knits is one that I definitely want to get a hold of. Let's see here. Holly is curious to know how I found other knitting podcasts. This is tough because I have had bouts where it's difficult for me to find knitting podcasts, and I have other times where there are so many that I want to watch that it's overwhelming. Recently, I've been watching a lot from a particular group of knitting podcasters, and these are largely Canadian. So I heard about the Grocery Girls, which is a sister duo based in Alberta. Found out about them from Diary of a Yarn Snob, who is based out of Nevada, I believe. YouTube actually recommended me Diary Yarn Snob. So then I heard about Grocery Girls, and through Grocery Girls I heard about Pin Feathers and Pearls, Stress Knits, and Sticks Plus Twine. And then YouTube recommended Bookish Stitcher to me. So, I mean, it's tough because it's not like you can just search in YouTube knitting podcast and necessarily have any luck. It's really just by word of mouth. So what I'm going to do is, in each of my episodes, I'm going to link in the down bar the ones that I'm watching. And I'm going to try to vary it up a little bit so that if people are curious about watching other knitting podcasters, then they can find them. So I'll be sure to link some of them down below for you. Okay. And that's it for the questions. Thank you everybody so much for your comments. And I really do appreciate it. So let's get on to what I've actually been knitting. I have a finished object, and it is a currently blocking finished object. I finished my Merwin shawl this past Saturday night. It was actually it was more like bright and early Sunday morning. It was like 12:30 in the morning when I finished binding off. My Merwin shawl, I was knitting for Camp Luby, Project 1 for June, and I knit it out of Volmai's blend in the Ahoy colorway, which is sport weight merino cashmere nylon. And yeah, it's beautiful, but it's currently blocking. So I'm going to insert some pictures here of it blocking so that you can see sort of how I pinned it out. And then next week I will have the finished object in hand so that you can see what it looks like off the blocking wires and maybe around my neck. So I'm super, super excited about it. It's actually the first time that I've been able to work with my blocking wires, and it was a dream. I mean, it was like a piece of cake. It was so easy. And I really love it. It's big, the shawl. It's big. And I love that. And not only is it big, but it's airy. So the lace, I mean, it adds the holes to it. So it's not super warm, despite the fact that it is 70% wool. It's pretty phenomenal. So I'm super excited. Project number 1 is in the books. And yeah. So that's what I've got for a finished object. It's not fully finished, I guess, because it's not done blocking. With the weather today, I'm not really sure what the blocking schedule is going to be or how long it's going to take, because, I mean, when it's sunny, it will block pretty quickly because the sun will help dry it, but we shall see. We shall see. The good news is the final picture is due, I think, by tomorrow. But it's not mandatory that it be a finished blocked object for credit for Camp Luby, so no big deal. And then tomorrow I will cast on project for July, so that's exciting. I talked to you guys about that last week, I believe. I'm going to do the Ashton shawl. So yes, okay. So what have I been knitting? Since I spoke to you guys last, I've been knitting on just 2 things. The first you will have seen in my Whip Parade. This is in one of my Mrs. Brown's bags. This is her, I believe it's 1 to 2 skein size. And inside is my Through Loops Mystery Shawl. This is by Kirsten Kapoor. It's the mystery from 2016. The last clue came out yesterday or the day before. The last clue, like the end. And I'm on clue 2. I'm making my way through clue 2. So when I spoke to you guys last, I was somewhere down here. I hadn't quite closed up these triangles yet, but I have done so now, and now I'm working on just working my way through the body. This lace is complicated, but not impossible. It just requires some brain, which I like, actually. So there's that. And I love the shape that it's making. Those big holes there are created using double yarn overs, so they're extra big. And from what I understand, there's a long section of them here down each of these sections of it. And this I am knitting on US size 5, 3.75 millimeter. These are Chagu fixed circulars, red lace. And as you can see, the shawl is quickly outgrowing the needles. I'm going to have to move over here pretty soon. And I am knitting this out of 2 skeins of Shalimar yarns in Breathless. This is their fingering base. It is 75% superwash, 15% cashmere, 10% silk, 420 yards in the colorways Petal and Curry. And for a long time, I am just working with the Curry. So that's where we're at. This is slow going because, like I said, it takes brain and it takes some concentration to work on. So that is that. And then I cast something new on. And I just want to preface this conversation here that I cast this on and it doesn't mean anything, okay? I hope that I'm conveying that. It doesn't mean what you think it is, because I'm knitting a baby blanket. Let me reiterate. I'm not having a baby. I can prove it to you if I must, but I'm not yet. Not yet. So, I cast on for a baby blanket. And I'm pretty excited about it, actually. So what spurred this on is that I took some time this past weekend? Yeah, this past weekend, to reorganize my whips, to make sure that everything had its own project bag, and just to get everything sorted out and organized. And while I was doing that, it just clicked in my head that I just wanted something new on the needles. And I wanted something worsted weight, and I wanted something sort of brainless, and I wanted something that I could knit on while watching TV with Danny. So, those itches. I'm going to take a quick sip here. Okay, so the blanket that I cast on is a chevron baby blanket, and I am knitting it out of 3 colors of Cascade 220, which is a worsted weight base, and I'm using Red Wine Heather, Burnt Orange, and this is what I have left of a skein, but I have another skein on the way. So, and then this is Extra Cream Cafe. This ball is a hot mess because I was starting to knit something with it months ago and that never came to fruition, so I unraveled it and now I just need to wind it so that it's not such a disaster. So the first chevron is in the Red Wine Heather, then I'll do orange, then the cream, then maroon, orange, cream, maroon, orange, cream, on until I reach whatever length I've decided I want for this baby blanket. I am knitting it using, these are US size 9, 5.5 millimeter Chagu interchangeables. I have some point protectors because I was afraid that I might lose some stitches. and I'm pretty much following the pattern. I will be sure to link to it. I can't remember the designer or the name of it. I know that it's a free pattern, and I know it came from a blog, but other than that, I can't remember. Chevron baby blanket. So yeah, that's what I got to. And I cast on Saturday, and I haven't done anything else with it since. So there's that. Because like I said, I was pretty monogamous with my Merwin shawl, and I'm sort of taking it easy on the knitting right now because tomorrow I cast on the 600 yard project, and so I'm gonna have to be knitting pretty hardcore to make sure I get that done in time, because the Merwin I got done about a week early, and I used up 540 yards. And my Ashton, I have to knit at least 600 yards, but I'm going to try to go further than that just to use up the yarn. May as well, right? But I got to get it done in 31 days. So I'm going to have to be pretty monogamous. I imagine that my knitting updates are going to be short like this one for the foreseeable future, at least while camp is on. So that's that. So that's my baby blanket, and that is being stored in my super big baby bag. Let's see, this is house yarn, and I absolutely love this. And the inside is pretty gorgeous as well. One of my favorite big bags. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this back. The problem when the skeins are such a disaster as they are is that things get tangled so easy. But that's life. That's life, right? It's tangled mess sometimes. Okay. So, that's all I've been knitting. Dream knitting is really just Camp Loopy. I'm trying to focus on just Camp Loopy. But retail therapy, I have a little bit. So there's going to be a little bit of crinkling. I placed an order with O-Loops. This is one of my bucket list yarns that I talked to you guys about last week. And I was not expecting this yet, but it came in, and I'm super excited. So I placed an order for their Candy Crush kit, and I chose the colorway Nerds. So I'm going to go ahead and show it. If for whatever reason you are signed up for this and you don't want to see what Nerds looks like, look away now. Isn't she pretty? I love it. I love how, I mean, it's speckled, but it's not like crazy, right? I love the deep colors there. That's pretty gorgeous. So this was designed to be knit with the Candy Crush socks by Sarah Stevens of the Fiber by Design and O-Loops. And so you'll be seeing a preview image of what that sock is to look like here. And that's exactly what I'm going to do this. I'm going to use this skein to make those socks. But if you order this kit, and that's not all you get, got a cute little apple progress keeper. Can you see that? Oh no, you can't see that. There we go. Cute little apple progress keeper. 2 bags of tea, Tazo Passion, and Refresh Mint. I'm super excited about the Passion. I don't know about the Mint, but we'll give it a shot. Some Tootsie Rolls that I may or may not have partaken in just a little bit. There might be 2 less than showed up at my house. Let's see what else. All sorts of goodies. This box of Nerds, go figure, which my husband has already claimed for himself. And is that it? Progress Keeper, candy, tea, yarn. Yep, that's it. So super excited about that. Crossing another yarn off my bucket list. Just one left, and then I'm done for the year. So that's pretty cool. Now, of course, today Old Loops announces or starts their pre-orders for their Harry Potter knit-along, and I'm on a buy ban. Like, I'm not buying anything right now. Maybe next year. So that's all I got for Stashquisitions. I have some more on the way, but it's not here yet. So I will show that to you next time. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is literally everything that I've got to show you today. So I just want to thank you all so very much once again for watching and for your support in this endeavor of mine. And I will see you all next week. Bye. Take care.